Doctor Who Reddit? It's a funny place to be sometimes, guys. So I thought we'd hop back on the Reddit and have a look at Doctor Who Reddit and see what's cooking up in Reddit land today. We're looking at the Reddit again because it's been a couple of months and I feel like there's some funny memes on there that I need to get my eyes on. Oh, and we're back. It feels like it's been 4 months since the last time we were on here. It's because it's been 4 months. Let's have a little browse. These two gifs side by side feel like a romance movie scene. Impregnate. So offensive, sorry. On a real one though, I'd be up for like a Dalek spin-off where there's like a Dalek romance plot between two Daleks. I mean, obviously the thing is they don't really have emotions beyond hatred. And I mean, if you want to count the whole mercy thing as its own thing, but like majority of the time the Daleks are bred to hate anything that isn't a Dalek. But we never really see them love something that is a Dalek. So it'd be nice to see, you know, two lovey-dovey Daleks coming together and, you know, touching plungers and... I don't know. I just realised the only time the Doctor's been to Germany so far was in Nazi Germany. In what I must say is quite an underrated episode. I quite like Let's Kill Hitler. I'm doing my rewatches of Capaldi at the minute, so I'm loving playing with the screwdriver again since I was like a kid. Because obviously he uses it in Series 8. But when I was watching Matt Smith, and I just see Matt Smith in episodes just scan things. Like, he used the screwdriver more than anyone. He'd scan it and he'd do that, like, little look, everything. I've started doing it, and I feel a bit weird doing it. But, like, I love episodes that are so lore-heavy, which is why I'm not a big hater of the reality war and stuff like that. And, like, Sherlock, right? This isn't Doctor Who, but Sherlock, if you've seen it. Series 1 and 2 are pretty much like Monster of the Week, Case of the Week thing where they're really unconnected, and then Series 3 and 4 it gets tied up in its own lore, and that's when people stop hating it. But I quite like when shows get tied up in their own lore. I'm not mad that Billy Piper's back. I'm quite excited for Christmas to see what happens because I'm a bit of a geek like that. So an episode like Let's Kill Hitler where it's all about the origin of River Song and Mel's the downside, and like the introduction to the Tesselector, which is how the Doctor escapes his death. It was just a cool episode, and I see it get a lot of hate, but I quite like it. And it's got a Sonic cane in it. That's pretty cool. The worst bit of Shooty's era was how little he wore this outfit. Yeah. This wasn't my favourite Shooty outfit though. I liked his brown leather coat. That was more me. That felt more doctor-y than this. Although I did like this, and I liked the fact that he had different outfits. But like, I feel like for a new era, you needed to have this is the Doctor, this is what he looks like. And there's a lot of things that went wrong with this era because I feel like a lot of the things that can go wrong is just trial and error of getting it right. But when you don't have a trial and error for a Series 1 reboot, it's hard to know how to get it right. And unfortunately, it didn't work this time. They went the complete opposite way they did in 2005. In 2005, they saw, we've got one series of Doctor Who here. One series, and that's it, so we're not going to mess it up. And then this time round, they're like, we'll get loads of series, so we could just sort of spunk a load of ideas on the first two, and then just like, we'll get a series 3 and 4, so we'll just, you know, plan those as well. And it's like the opposite of what they should have been doing. I feel like a Doctor having one outfit would have worked better. For now, maybe in Series 3, 4, I mean even Series 2, Shooty could start experimenting with fruitier outfits. Because I love Shooty in a different outfit, but for new viewers, it's important to go, this is the Doctor, this is what he looks like, I think. What happened to Doctor Who fans? Which actor's version of the Doctor in Doctor Who said that bow ties are cool? David Tennant? Come on, lady. David Tennant didn't really have a catchphrase of like, this is cool, is it? Like, what did he wear that was abnormal? Shut up. He did wear sand shoes, to be fair, but I don't think that's not like an abnormal, I suppose it is, but he never really addressed it. He sort of just wore classic clothes, to be honest. He doesn't like pears, but I reckon David Tennant could pull off a bow tie. Maybe. Don't know, I've got his screwdriver here as well. I've got them all on standby. Although Shooty's one's downstairs because I remembered to put batteries in it today. If you've watched my videos, you know every time I go to start a video, I try and use that screwdriver and the batteries have just died. So I'm going to put new batteries in after I finish recording this. Numerous Doctor Who Season 3 scripts had already been written before Disney decided not to renew the show following an underwhelming performance on Disney+. Add 8 more 15th Doctor Big Finish stories to our catalogue. I'm glad Big Finish exists, but I'm not a Big Finish person. I used to love audio, but I never really followed like audio adventures, and I never really got into them. And I tried to do one once with the Paternoster gang, and I just can't really get into it that much. If Big Finish had an animating team that animated the stuff and you could watch it, I'd be more on board with it, a bit like Scooby-Doo. But yeah, I can't really sit there and listen because my imagination isn't very good. I've got good imagination when it comes to ideas and impulses and stuff like that, but when it comes to like actually envisioning like a garden right now, I'm there and then it flashes to something else and it's back to black, and then like I can never actually fully do it. So Big Finish isn't properly for me. But if they ever did invest in like an animating team or like a co-production, I'd definitely jump on it. I feel like it's a shame that I can't get into it because I feel like a lot of the stories in there are very, very good, and they're so expensive. That's another downside to them. I have a criticism of Heaven Sent. I don't like how it's part of the hybrid arc. I don't know. The hybrid arc's weird. It feels like it's just been shoved in there for something else for us to care about. But I like how it ties into the entire series. The entire series is a hybrid. Every episode's 2 parts, which I love. I'm a big fan of that. And the fact that the hybrid isn't one person, but it's 2 people, the Doctor and Clara coming to storm Gallifrey. I don't mind it. The Shielder thing's a bit, but that's not to do with Heaven Sent. Personally, I might get a lot of stick for this. I think Heaven Sent's overrated. Heaven Sent's overrated, alright? I actually prefer Hellbent, and I'm not doing this for attention. I genuinely love Hellbent, and I could watch it every day and probably never get bored. Actually, that's a lie, I would get bored very, very quickly, but I could still watch it often. The worst she can say is no. I'll drop you back in 2020. Blimey. My Doctor Who timeline's quite funny. I went from loving Doctor Who all the way from when I was born all the way up till 2017, and then in 2017 I started secondary school, and Peter Capaldi left, and I was like, oh, I can't really be watching Doctor Who in secondary school. It also doesn't help that that was the time that Jodie Whittaker came in, and I was a bit like, ooh, should we have a woman Doctor or not? And I was wanted to be an edgy teenager, so I was like, oh, I'm not watching that woke show. And then also the writing quality dipped and the acting quality dipped, in my opinion. So it all sort of blended together. Now, obviously, I don't care. Make the Doctor anybody. Have a non-binary Doctor, an Indian Doctor, a bloody... Go back to a white guy. I don't care. Do anybody. Woman, bloody... bicycle, I genuinely don't care. But back then I did, for some reason. I think I just wanted to be edgy. And yeah, I went back to watching Doctor Who in lockdown, when lockdown hit when I was in year 9. And I watched the whole thing up until the Jodie era, and I tried to watch series 11. I think I got to like Arachnids in the UK, and I was like, I cannot do this to myself. So I just went back and watched series 2 again, because I love series 2. Series 2 is my favourite series growing up. So it was, yeah, I wish I did give Jodie a go in lockdown, because then I could have had the hype of Flux, because when I remember when Flux was airing, I was like, this is awful. I was on radio at the time, and the adverts kept playing out for Flux, and I was like, oh god, what has Doctor Who become? What has it become? But, you know, I'm a changed man now. I love Jodie, even though I'm not a big fan of the era. I think Jodie's a great Doctor, and she was the best at being the Doctor outside of the show, which is a big part of it. It's stuff like this that I never ever think about. The 9th Doctor dealing with gas mask zombies roaming London, the 11th Doctor dealing with Daleks, also in London. It's weird things like that, isn't it? Those episodes are both set at the World War II times, and I've never once thought that those 2 episodes are happening at the same time. I mean, maybe they're not. The war lasted for like 6 years, so maybe they didn't happen at the exact same time, but it's mad that like in that event, Daleks, gas mask kid, there's probably some Big Finish monster that I've not mentioned, and everyone's going to kick off at me and be like, you need to watch the Big Finish one. But I don't know, I think it was it just never crossed my tiny brain that this happened, whereas a lot of other people are like, this is set here, this is set here, this is set here, and they all happen at the same time, and I'm like, yeah, like in Call of Duty, Mob of the Dead and Shadows of Evil are happening at the same time. A really poor example for a Doctor Who channel. If any of you know Call of Duty Zombies, hit me up, we could play. Good old JK. Written by Gareth Roberts, funnily enough, who I think out of all the Doctor Who writers would probably end up being the one who supports J.K. Rowling the most. Allegedly, obviously. Today I learned that Torchwood is an anagram of Doctor Who. What do you mean, bro? Torchwood obviously is an anagram of Doctor Who. Come on, I told my mum that the other day, she couldn't believe it. Right, I'm trying to find something that's worthy of a title and thumbnail, because yeah, this video has been good, but like I need a clickbaity title. Alright, I think I'm just going to use this one, this Heaven Sent one. That's going to be the title and thumbnail. Heaven Sent is bad? Question mark. I'll put the question marks, then people, I can't be claimed that I'm clickbaiting. I don't think it's bad. I like Heaven Sent, it's a good episode, but it gets so much praise, and I think a lot of people think it's good and then just hop on the bandwagon. Whereas there's episodes out there that I think are just as good that don't get talked about enough, so people don't hop on the bandwagon of those, if that makes sense. Like, what's a 10 out of 10 episode? In my eyes, Extremist, 10 out of 10. Listen, 10 out of 10. But if everyone had widely regarded Listen as the best episode ever, everyone would jump on it and be like, Listen's so good, it's the best episode of Doctor Who. But because everyone says that about Heaven Sent, everyone says it about Heaven Sent, if that makes sense. Maybe it just doesn't connect with me as well. Like I say, I think Hellbent's a much better story. Oh, but Clara got brought back again. That's the point. That's the point. He keeps bringing her back, and that's why it's killing him and killing her, so he has to forget her. Anyway, enough of a ramble. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe, why not? If you want to support me monetary wise, you can leave a super thanks in the comments or become a channel member. You get a shout out in the next video for either of those, or if you become a channel member, you also get access to member only videos if you go for the higher tier. Or if you can't, if you can't or don't want to do any of that, leave a like, subscribe, notification bell on. I post all the time, literally every single day. Or if you don't want to do that, you can leave a comment. Let me know what you think about Reddit and all this waffle I've talked about today. Or there's a hype button near the comments that it helps push the video out to loads of people. Or don't do any of it and just go away and eat dinner or whatever it is you're going to do next. Ta-ra!